Okay, we will restart. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Where we discussed about these three kind of volitions. First, recalling, then changing, and then reconfirming by loops. Well, you asked Sinhala word or Pali word, this mental volitions. Mental volitions, you call them by the word chetana, sometimes called sanchetana. Okay. So they are decisions actually, decisions and action. Decision to take an action and then carrying out the action, they are volitions or chetana. Okay, we will try to exercise our minds with volitions. Maybe today you may not be very strong, maybe initial practice, but let's try and see whether we can use mental volitions in order to do a change in a particular mental image. This is what we are going to do. We are going to visualize a scenario. Don't do it yet. I will start it later. This is the summary. Visualize a scenario and get yourself fully absorbed into it. First step. Then we will make an attempt to change the scenario. Scenario means a mental formation there. Okay. Step 3, we will loop it. That means we'll repeat it until the mind gets absorbed in the new mental formation. For that, we will repeatedly do the thinking in a particular way. Basically, this is meditation, although what I'm trying to do here is that later in real meditations, this is the process happening. So we are trying to exercise the process in a more simple way now, so that we can do the real meditation later. Right? I'll try to relate this to real meditation at the appropriate time. Right? Okay. We can visualize, not yet, right? This is just the idea. We are going to visualize a set of children in despair. Vividly visualize, consisting of poor children, hungry and sad, all that. We will do that in a moment. After that, so that is recalling. What you recall are the poor children in your mind, actually. Or you can create a new scenario by your mind and get absorbed into it. Then you change them to this state where they are happy, they are enjoying, and that kind of state. So state change, is it clear? From this state to this state. Right? We are going to do that change using mental volitions. Let's see how successful we are. It may be not very successful in the very first day, right? Don't worry about it. Right, so we will close our eyes. It will take few minutes. Right? Close your eyes. Okay, then recall a mental formation of poor children. The way you have seen them, you can recall. Set of poor children. They are in despair, they are hungry, unhappy. Visualize their faces and visualize their clothes. rugged clothes, and visualize their bodies. Keep doing that again and again until that mental image is strong in your mind. Let the mind get fully absorbed into that. Fully absorbed means other thoughts will die down and this particular mental formation will become very strong and take over the thought process. So now you can see their faces in despair more clearly, more vividly. And the associated feeling or emotion, can you identify? What is the emotion of the mind at this moment when recalling this mental formation? So visualize that you are with them. You can see them clearly. Okay, then make a decision. Make a decision that this mental formation I'm going to change. I'm going to change for good, for them to be happy, well and happy. Therefore, give them food. Visualize yourself giving food items to them. And distribute clothes, new clothes. Okay, let them wear, let them eat. These are mental volitions that you are doing, purposive striving of the thought process so that the children in your mind are changing now. Their hunger is gone and they are very happy. New clothes are on. Look at their smiles, the gleaming eyes. Visualize their happiness. They all are very happy now, playing with each other, with smiles, laughter. Now reassuring, reconfirming that new mental image again and again. So let the mind loop. Visualize this new mental formation once again. This is how they are now. They are very happy. They are laughing, playing, and they are beautiful with new clothes. So repeat those thoughts to yourself at least 5 to 10 times from now on until the new mental image is very bright, very vivid, and very clear. They are truly well and truly happy now. And you are also happy. You are the cause for their happiness. You gave them food, clothing, and you can also be happy about that good deed. Okay. Feel that happiness. Right. We will finish. As for now, you can open the eyes. Okay. We know mental images are personal. We know they are embedded with emotions. So initial mental image may be embedded with sorrow or sadness. Final one may be embedded with the happiness or joy. I'm sure you would be successful to some extent today in achieving that change within the mind. If we have not trained the mind to do the volitions properly, if the thought process of the volitions are not properly trained, it may be initially a bit difficult to do the exercise, because you feel that the change you want to bring about is not really coming inside the mind. Right? That's because we have not trained the thought process. But with training, it will become easier and easier. Okay, you may have noticed now the third step consisted of mental volitional loops, which means this the chetana, the same sanchetana is repeated. Because the mind of anyone belongs according to a certain rule, simple rule, which I will put on screen now. Just read it. If a particular set of thoughts are repeatedly engaged and more frequently used within a mind, the mind and the thought process will bend towards that set of thoughts. And this is a general rule of the mind, of any mind. Your mind as well as mine. And this rule holds for good thoughts as well as bad thoughts. There is duality in the rule. Duality in the sense, if a particular set of thoughts which give you happiness and inner peace, calmness are repeated, the mind and the thought process will be bending towards that slowly. It's like when there is sunlight from one direction, from only one direction, any tree, like say a coconut tree, will be bending towards sunlight slowly. Right? Same way, when there is a particular set of thoughts repeatedly engaged in a loop, the mind and the thought process will slowly accept it and will bend towards it and will become a habit. Bad habits are formed using this rule. Good habits are also formed using this rule. Therefore, the rule is neither good or bad. The rule is neutral rule of the mind. And duality means it can work either way. It can be used for generating happiness, so good deeds, or it can be used for generating bad deeds. Notice the duality of the thought. So it is up to the person, up to you. But remember the rule. Rule is very important. And this is the rule we are going to use in the mental loop, volitional loop, where we try to engage our mind in what is called self-talk. Actually, you don't talk by mouth. You talk using the mind giving instructions to the mind, although this picture shows a different person giving instructions, it's only an illustration. It is you and your own image giving instructions to yourself internally. So idea is, in the duality, let's consider the bad side first. A bad thought which makes you unhappy and which makes you more studious or more rigorous. If such a thought is generated within the mind and repeatedly said to the mind itself by using what we call self-talk, it's called a negative self-talk. And this can repeat, of course. And if that is happening, you can ask yourself, what am I doing to myself? Because this loop, when it runs multiple times, the earlier rule that I mentioned will apply, which means that dissatisfaction, anxiety, stress, that kind of thoughts will cloud your mind and they will re-engage in the mental volitional loop and will become more cloudy, more dark, and it's a loop like this. Okay? Negative self-talk loop can generate dissatisfaction, and if repeated, it may be causing anxiety. If repeated over a long period of time, it may lead to even stress. So rise of negative emotions and negative attitudes happen that way. At the subconscious level, there are certain assumptions, certain beliefs, which are repeatedly engaged in negative self-talk and slowly come to the cognitive level and become beliefs, negative beliefs. So this is the same rule which I mentioned earlier being used in the bad way. So bad habits, bad mental habits will be formed. Same way, we can use it for good purpose. So when bad thoughts arise and looped, mental volitional loop happens, it's like that the pure gold is getting contaminated with impurities. The gold is equivalent to our mind. Contaminated with impurities means the repeated bad thoughts will generate more unhappiness, anxiety, depression, stress, and all those bad words you have heard. It happens to people. Well, now the question is, can I control this loop? You know that it happens. You know that it happens. Sometimes you get angry, and the mental formation that caused the anger is repeated in the mental volitional loop, and slowly the anger becomes stronger, and you feel very unhappy and burdened. I'm sure it has happened to you someday, and it may happen again. But before such things happen again, we should ask this question from ourselves: can't I control this loop? Of course you can. You have to push a meditation thought into the volitional loop and let yourself, your own mind, repeat to itself the meditation thought. It's a volitional loop like this. Meditation thought is repeated this way. So this is the use of volitional loop for meditation, which is in our previous diagram, which I drew by hand. Step number 3. Step number 3 needs a lot of repetitions like this until the mind accepts it as the new reality. So the old reality, old mental formation is changed to a new mental formation. That is our objective here. this happens within the mind, although I'm drawing this by a picture here just to illustrate. Right? So far, I did not receive any questions in the chat. I hope you are with me. Right? Okay, repeating a meditation thought through the mind like earlier, like what I said earlier, is cleaning. Cleaning the contaminated gold to recover the pure gold again, for which you have to have determination that I want pure gold again and I must purify it. Therefore, cleansing process is this. Fruitful self-talk can recover the pure gold, pure mind, and in such a way that, you know, the gold, when you purify it, it's so flexible that a goldsmith can create any small shapes, any complicated shapes with gold. Same way, when the mind is purified from those impurities known as hindrances, the mind becomes so flexible, and like a goldsmith crafting very delicate shapes. Same way, the mind can craft very delicate thoughts, which can give you calmness or which can give you inner happiness. So that is possible with meditation techniques. So what I introduced up to now is mental volitions, chetana, and the volitional loop where the chetana can be repeated. Hope that part is clear before we move on. I'm stopping for questions if you have any. No questions? Okay, so it looks like things are clear. Let me share a new PowerPoint where we are going to discuss about particular meditation. Hope you can see that screen. By the way, the little exercise we did to change that poor children to happy children. Oh, even one poor child you can recall from your mind, and you can change using mental volitional loop. You can change that child to a happy child, which is what we are going to do now. The real meditation we are going to do. What if that poor child? What if what you are going to remember or recall is not a poor child but you? Because in our little earlier exercise, you may remember that you created a mental image of yourself sitting. So rather than recalling a poor child in this meditation, you are going to recall yourself, your body, and your mind. You are going to recall as step number 1. As step number 2, you are going to change your status to a new one. And step number 3, you are going to reassure that new status, new mental formation by volitional loop. This meditation is known as loving kindness meditation. It is very similar to what we did to that children. But this time it's one child, it's you. You are going to change yourself. your own mental image about yourself into a loving kindness mental formation. After that, you can extend that to others. You can extend that to the others. Okay. I'm sure most of you may have some experience of loving kindness meditation, isn't it? Can I assume that? Well, no answer or no reply. So maybe my guess is that most of you might have some experience with the loving kindness because it's a very popular meditation in most religions. So the principle behind that meditation is what I tried to highlight by using those keywords like mental volitions and mental volition loop, and then that little experiment of changing a mental image of the child, poor child to happy child. Okay. So that part is enough for our theory for this particular meditation. So we are moving on to that meditation now. This meditation is about the situations that that we dislike. Situations like a few situations I'll put on this. You don't want to be blamed, and the sorrow. These kind of situations in life, even the physical pain, disease, and unhappiness or stress, arguments, and these kinds of scenarios that we undergo in daily life. I'm sure in your life you have gone through many such situations by now, and they are memorized. They are in the memory now, just like that tree that you carried home from the university and it's with you. Same way, these memories are with you now, and they are subconscious. The anger, the sorrow, the mental pain, fear, physical pain, physical illness, anxiety, resentments, hatred, all that. We don't like any of this, and we don't like to be a subject to any of this. So in this particular meditation, we generate, any stored feeling of distaste or hostility in the mind, we can change. The feelings of distaste or feelings of hostility may have been already built in to our mind in different ways. One method is that you may generate these feelings of distaste or hostility in your mind at your own will, consciously. So consciously you think of such thoughts, resentment thoughts on your own, and you have generated it. That's possible. Or another method is that others may have generated it in your mind consciously. Other people consciously try to generate such feelings of distaste, feelings of hostility, resentment in your mind. And you may be unaware, but their attempts may be successful. And such feelings you may be carrying. Any questions? Let me check. No. Third method is that you may generate it in your mind subconsciously. That means without your full awareness, subconsciously, you may have generated these kind of feelings. Fourth is, others may generate such feelings in your mind subconsciously. So others also may not be intentionally, but subconsciously, their actions might have generated this kind of feelings in your mind. So by now, since you have covered a portion of your life, lived portion of your life by now, they are being carried by your mind. Is it worth to carry forward like that? It's like that your remote controller has been lost and someone has picked it up, and it's like say your TV's remote controller has been lost and it was found by your neighbor, and the neighbor can change the channels by pressing buttons. So you have to watch. Same way, other people who got hold of your remote controller, you are like a robot then. So when they press certain buttons, fear is generated in your mind. So others can generate fear in your mind. They can generate sorrow. They can generate anger. They can generate hatred, enmity, all that at will. Is it worth? Should we allow that to happen? Because finally, these feelings are going to remain in your mind. And if remained over a prolonged time, they can give other kind of trouble. They can be the cause for some other mental issues. So all these kinds of thoughts are categorized as feelings of distaste or hostility. Like this. Physical sufferings like illness, physical pain, physical diseases. Then mental suffering such as mental pain, anxiousness, depression, anxiety, etc. Fear. I think you can recall that your mind has experienced fear. Also recall the times where you experienced anger. Recall the times you experienced the hatred. Also the times you experienced sorrow. None of these things listed here give you happiness. They are real burden actually. And the words we use to describe this kind of feelings in meditation, sometimes we use this word aversion. Sometimes use resentment, ill will, antipathy, enmity, bitterness. They are all words that has been used in meditation terminology to describe this kind of feelings of distaste or feelings of hostility. Right? In this meditation, we first ask ourselves, how do I re-engineer my thought process to erase this kind of aversion or resentments in the mind? Because they are not worth carrying forward. First, you must understand, before you clean it, you must understand how did it arise? How did it arise? The same figure I showed you earlier shows how the aversion or ill will be arising from the mind. Initially at subconscious level, certain small dislikes, small resentments of people or small resentments of events will be registered at subconscious level. And then over time, when repeated incidences or similar incidences happen, these mental formations are recalled and put into the loop and put back into the memory. Again recalled, put into the loop and put back into the memory. Likewise, slowly it comes to the cognitive level and become beliefs and come to the self-talk level, and then the mind becomes full of aversion or full of ill will. That's how they arise. So in order for the aversion to arise, first thing you need is bad mental formation. You recall it, and then you, after you recall, you enter into the negative self-talk in such a way that the aversion will become worse before you put it back into the memory. So that has happened already in your mind for many incidences. Therefore, it should be negated now. That's where this meditation is, this technique is used. Well, I'm sure you all will agree that it is not worth. It will not be of any help to carry forward such resentments, such aversions, because first of all, you are the one affected than the others. So mental formation 1 to mental formation 2, the earlier diagram. This is what we do in loving kindness meditation. Remember, this loving kindness meditation is not mindfulness meditation. Remember, I gave you 3 categories: mindfulness meditations, concentration meditations, and wisdom meditations. What we are discussing now is not mindfulness. This is concentration meditation, the second category. Mindfulness, that topic is coming later in our course. So, in the meditation we are going to do in a moment, we will be generating awareness of the first mental formation, which is mental formation that gives resentment, aversion, or ill will. Then purposeful visualization. These are the mental volitions which enforce the change. Third, affirmations or reassuring the new mental formation. Okay, first generating awareness. What do we do in that step? So you as a person, you focus on yourself and generate awareness of your body. From top of the head to the bottom of the feet, these different areas of the whole body, you become slowly aware. And then you slowly become aware that there is a body here and there is a mind here. Body and mind are together. They are working together. That awareness will be first generated. Then you generate awareness that in the body, there are certain things that you dislike. Like, for example, physical pain, you dislike. Also, you dislike physical ailments. So that's about the body. Then in the mind, there are certain things you dislike, certain mental formations, which is embedded with anger, hatred, sorrow, fear, all that kind of mental formations embedding them, they are there in the mind. So 2 things now. First thing is in the body, there are physical pain, diseases. In the mind, there are mental formations embedded with these resentment kind of thoughts. So you just generate awareness that is the first part, right, in this meditation. Second part is you use certain verses, meditation verses, in order to change that mental formation of yourself in such a way that you will be changed to a new mental formation, where you will be physically well, and physically without any illness, and mentally you may be free from fear, anger, hatred, that kind of thoughts. Mentally you will remove and feel free. That is the second step. Third step is the new yourself, the changed yourself. That is, new mental formation of yourself in your mind is recalled again. After you recall, you feel happy about yourself, then you put that back into the memory, recall again, be happy about that, put that back into the memory. Likewise, the loop will run multiple times, which is called affirmation loops. So this is how we do Mettha meditation. Maitri, Mettha, or loving kindness, they are the names for the meditation. Okay. It's very similar to what we did earlier. If we take the mental image of a child in despair, and using those mental volitions, if you change the scenario to a child who is happy, the same way, instead of a child, you take yourself. And yourself, you are like a child in despair because there may be physical pain, there may be physical illness, there may be mental hatred, mental anger, then fear, then worries. You may be full of that. So the idea is that, like you change the child, you are going to change yourself to this new situation. So that is the experiment we are going to do. First, let us do it for a child. After that, after the break, we will do the real meditation. Right? Okay. Right. Again, you can close the eyes. These things we are doing in preparation for the real meditation. Close the eyes. You can even half close if you don't want to fully close. Then visualize a poor child. Visualize a poor child. Just one child now, not like the earlier case. Just one. You can see the face, see the clothes, see the unhappiness, see the despair in the face. And when that mental formation is there now in the mind, but is the embedded emotion. Emotion you can identify. Okay, like you did earlier, bring food and visualize yourself giving food and new clothes to this child. Hoping that may the child be well, may the child be happy, may the child be free from physical or mental sufferings. That's what you think. With that intention, give food, give clothing, new clothes, and new play items, toys. Okay, that is the mental volition. Now, after that, the affirmation loops. Now visualize the child with the new clothes. and playing with happiness, smiles in the face, playing around you. Visualize the laughter and happiness in the face. Keep repeating, reassuring, recalling that same good memory, new formation of the child. Do it multiple times yourself. And enjoy the happiness of the child. With the thought that may this child be well and happy, free from physical sufferings, free from mental sufferings like this, and completely joyful face. Now, this new mental formation is embedded with the new emotion, happiness. Happiness and joy. Engage that again and again into your mind. Okay, then have a determination. I'm going to do the same to myself, my self-image. My self-image. So you can now visualize yourself, not the child, now yourself from top of the head to the bottom of the feet. Here I am. This is my posture. I'm right now with this posture. I'm going to change this self-image. So new mental volitions you can generate now. Towards yourself, you can think, may I be free from physical sufferings. May I be free from physical sufferings. So slowly visualize you are becoming physically well and you are becoming happy about it. All physical pain vanishing. No physical pain, no diseases. I am well and happy right now, right here. And thinking of your mind, let all the hatred, anger fade away. Fear, let it fade away. Sorrow, let it fade away. Here I am, free from hatred, free from sorrow, free from anger, free from fear. Enjoy that freedom. You are mentally free from such resentments right now, right here. So this is me now, new mental image. I'm taking care of myself. I'm taking care of myself. Okay, so self-image of yourself has changed now. Right now, right here, I'm free from physical suffering, free from those mental sufferings. Enjoy that freedom of loving kindness to yourself. So just like the way you enjoyed the change to that child, enjoy the change to yourself. Okay, decide to open the eyes, and you can slowly open the eyes. Okay, can you notice the similarity of what we did to the mental formation of the child from formation 1 to formation 2? The same way, the mental formation of yourself, the self-image, formation 1 to formation 2. Formation 2 is called the loving kindness formation of yourself. Formation 2, the new one, is the loving kindness mental formation of yourself. ඒක තමන්ට මෛත්‍රී කරනවා කියන අදහස තියෙන්නේ එතන. තමන් කියලා තියෙන self image එක recall කරලා mental volitions වලින් ඒක change කරලා ඒක affirm කරනවා, reaffirm කරනවා mental volition loop එක use කරලා. So if this is successful, then we extend it to the others. You can extend it to your family members. Of course, the mental image of the family members you recall and you change them to the new formation, and you become happy about it. And you can extend it to all other living beings slowly, all kind of living beings, infinite number of living beings, you can extend it. That's the real meditation of loving kindness. So after the break, we will slowly develop this process to encompass all the living beings. Right? One question before we break. Sir, is there a possibility that these imaginations make us addicted to an imaginary life and lost track of the real world? Real world is your reality. The manifestation of your reality is in your mind. Therefore, what you consider as the real world at the moment is also imaginary. You consider it as a real world because your imaginations are fairly matching with others' imaginations. So when few people have similar imaginations, they agree that this is real. That is what we call real world. Therefore, anyway, you are addicted. Anyway, you are addicted to the real world, what you consider as the real world. So the meditation mental formations are only mental exercises that you train so that these bad imaginations you can change to good ones. That is the idea. So anyway, getting addicted to bad formations is not good. If you are getting addicted, it's better to get addicted to good ones, isn't it? If you think that way. So anyway, it is addiction. Living means addiction. Mahinsa is asking, sir, when reassuring should we start from beginning with the poor child, or should we only focus on happy child? Actually, in the meditation, we focus on first yourself, and then change yourself, then others, then change them others. That's the order. So this child one is only an example I took. Don't do it every day, right? Everyday meditation is what we are going to do after the break, actually, the real meditation. All this child thing and these little mental exercises are just to make you become familiar with the process only. They are not real meditations, right? Only to highlight the process. Okay, so we'll have a short break again, and after the break, it's real meditation, practical session, guided meditation. Okay, have the break now.